Look at that blue sky. Blue sky doesn't even seem real. Oh, warm. Feels like summer could come. So, let's talk about this article that I just saw over at Time Magazine or Time.com. And it's welcome to the first global economic depression of our lives or our lifetimes. So, if you haven't been reading Time Magazine, good for you. Amongst them, every once in a while you see something good. Not often. But when I was reading it and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this really is a global economic depression like we have never seen before. Which, number one, should let people know something. That this is not like a nation state operation, period. No nation state is benefiting from this, okay? It is those outside of the nation state structure that are truly benefiting from this and consolidating power. But on the surface, the power structure of each nation state is clamping down with draconian measures and more control, whether it be the track trace army of New York, or whether it be mandatory vaccinations in places like Denmark, right? I mean, the thing is that everywhere you see, and every time something like this happens, you have the Henry Kissingers of the world pop up out of nowhere, be propped up by the media. Solution to this. We need a new world, a new world order, a new restructuring. And at almost every turn of every crisis, you'll see these people that have been pushed by the establishment pop up, right? Who's being popped up right now more than anybody? Bill Gates. And I realize that the world is now waking up that Bill Gates isn't the best thing since breakfast, and he's not into an epidemiologist or a virologist or a scientist of any kind. I have no idea why this is the guy that's being pushed, except for when you look at the solutions, you kind of know why he is the guy who's being pushed. Because, number one, he's been a public face for some time. He's associated with positivity, right? Everybody loved Microsoft Windows. You had a PC, you had that, Microsoft Xbox, even MSNBC, his venture into media all the way back in the 90s, no longer there. But then again, he's supposedly no longer part of Microsoft, right? But here's the thing, when you do that and you prop someone up like him, it just lets all those people in control, the predator class, know that they can prop up in their unelected bureaucratic organizations. And that's why I feel like now's the time to go check out my films, Invisible Empire and Shade the Motion Picture. If you want to understand what unelected bureaucracy looks like and how it empowers itself, you need to go see Invisible Empire and understand that those in power started with the League of Nations. That didn't fly with the American people. Then worked its way into the United Nations, right? All the while creating their own little think tanks and organizations and subgroups like the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group especially, where a lot of the high-level stuff could be managed once a year. But they continue to grow, right? That's what the Trilateral Commission was about, etc. And at a certain point, their usefulness was only so much. What do I mean? Well, you couldn't just keep creating these organizations and keep people under thumb, so what do? You empower multinational corporations that not only act like monopolies, because they are monopolies, but are in bed with intelligence agencies and the military of these nation states. And it's not just the United States, right? That's another really important thing to look at, is that when we talk about Google, yes, Google is in bed with NASA, 100%. Artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and many other things that we probably have no idea about, okay? But they're also in on what? Dragonfly. So what's Dragonfly? Dragonfly is the censored version of the internet. Kind of surprised they're not here. Oh, that's right. The censored version of the internet that they worked on via China. They're not working with everywhere they can make a buck, right? So now let's bring in what the globalist solution might be for this global depression. Remember, they're not even calling it a depression in the United States. They propped the stock market up artificially so that it hasn't completely visually collapsed. But in turn, what's happening is the profits these people are claiming to make in the stock market, right? The large corporations or whatever, are basically masses of printed money backed by nothing in a short period of time, coupled with the permanent firing of many of their employees and then moving to telework. That's how you're going to prop this up. Well, why not? Eventually, they don't want a dollar bill to begin with. They don't want physical currency because it goes outside of their full-on track trace database system. It goes against their full-on taxation with zero representation system. So how do you institute something like this? Well, number one, you encourage people not to work and get money. That's why a lot of these people who are on unemployment, who were able to get it, who didn't have the best of jobs, that aren't hurting, that didn't own their own businesses, that aren't going financially bankrupt, that haven't lost everything in their pension, those people are happier than a pig of shit because they don't have to work, and instead of bringing home $400 or $500 a week, they're bringing home $1,000. Right? Well, that feels good. Wow, I like that, huh? Then you have people that are already accustomed to just being on the system because it's not as beneficial to work. Like, why would a single mother with 3 kids go out and work 40 hours and the free money that she's already gotten, she's already having enough time spending time with those kids, managing that, but then to work on top of it. So you kind of incentivize that as well. And I'm, not knocking single mothers here, by the way. I'm just telling you how it works, how people actually think and talk. And then you'll have the outliers that are taking advantage of the system anyway. And before all this, you had a United States population that was already 40+% on some kind of government dole. So as more and more people go out of business, as unemployment becomes more and more common, the adaptation of a possible universal basic income, very globalist type solution, where now, let's say it's $2,000 a month for each citizen. First of all, giving $24,000 a year to people isn't going to come for free. You're going to have whatever government mandated vaccine. You'll be required to jump through some digital hoops. You'll probably have an app on your phone, right? Because at the end of the day, this is going to move completely away from actual currency and give you your nice little Chinese style, social credit score. That's what it's about. 36 thumbs, let's double that, 110 watching. Okay, so let's keep moving through this scenario. So now you got everybody on the dole for $24,000 a year. Now those that don't take it are going to be $24,000 a year behind. And anybody in the middle working class or even upper middle class, that'll be devastating. A lot of small business owners that own a small business, employ 4 to 10 or 200 grand in profits. Now, if you're only taking 100 grand in profits and your employees are now getting paid, even around the minimum wage, 40 hours, that's a $24,000, $30,000 a year job on top of $24,000. So now your employee is making half of what you are for the business you started and you worked to make. It doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Well, you'll be on more of a playing field if you just take that UBI along with the business, Jason. That's what we want you to do. So as they move away from, that and into a universal basic income, that system will be much like the benefit card, right? They started you on food stamps and then they said high corruption. And there was high corruption, let's be honest. But you used to have a physical piece of paper that was your food benefit, your food stamp. It's no longer like that. It's all digital. All digital. It just goes on an imagination land card and it's swipey and worky. But every transaction is tracked and Tracy. Okay? So you now have a massive population about to be laid off, right? The college doesn't come back here. I can't even tell you how many people are going to get laid off. Most of these houses, well, they're either residents or they're empty because they would house college kids, or right now, the beginning of baseball season, so that their kids could play in Cooperstown and dream the dream. That'll probably come back next year. College kids, not so sure. My town held an emergency meeting where they laid off 59 workers in a 4.5-hour live stream anybody could watch, and got ready for more. They closed my DMV down for good. So it's going to be awfully challenging to register this car I just bought to go across the country. We'll get to that in a minute, because we're still not done with this globalist solution to the problem. Once they get you on the Tracy card and the universal basic income, well, money, and really we should probably go to a system of social credits. And this is something that's already will be backed by a similar monetary system to the one that you have, but you'll have a score on top of it that will let people know whether you're trustworthy, whether or not you should be able to take out a loan, whether or not your kids should go to certain schools, whether or not you can travel in certain areas. And this will be overlapped with the fear of COVID-1984, all this transhumanist nonsense where I can't shake hands with somebody. Boy, I'll tell you what, did buy this car yesterday. It's a little used car, a little 2011 Fiesta. Hopefully it's gonna bang. Got a decent deal on it, but it definitely needs some work. So we're probably pumping about $5,000 into the thing beforehand. But when I met the woman, you know, I went out to shake her hand because that's, you know, normal. She shook my hand right back. It was a great feeling. I was like, yes. I'm like, I got to tell you, I love you already. You're shaking my hand. You're acting like, hey, we're human beings. We just met. It's a show and a sign of respect. Imagine that. But that's the thing. People at the top, people that push globalization, they have no respect for humanity. They're pushing automation nations, social credit scores, and global government based in organizations that you and I never voted for. Never voted for their leaders, never voted for their policies. And that's why, you know, the media thinks that we should just bow down to people like Bill Gates and their minions, to Johns Hopkins and Davos, you know, the Universal, the CDC. I don't vote for anybody on the CDC, do you? Center for Disease Control? Huh. Me neither. And it's so weird that they get to change the facts, because the facts aren't the facts, according to Andrew Cuomo, right? But I don't get to change those facts. No, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm somebody who needs to be taken off of social media. I need to be demonetized. I need to have the algorithms restrict my stuff, because I'm not authoritarian. It's not authoritative. It's an authoritarian source. So guys, we're going to hit up a big AMA with a bunch of stories later this afternoon, so gear up for that. Thumbs this video up on the way out. Remember, fully demonetized on YouTube, getting ready to hit free parts of the country, hopefully. I guess we're going to find out whether they're free or not. Coming in the beginning of June, as long as I can register my car and get everything working. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what the other America on these globalist solutions to a predator class manufactured event. That's how I feel about it. So hit the GoFundMe. $5, $10, $15 means the world to me. Big donors. Love you. Thanks. We'll talk to you later.